This week's show brought to you by Roosters, a fun casual joint. Frank Shoup, Georgetown's big name in cars. The Bluegrass Method, cutting-edge basketball training with Scott County's own Michael Richardson.
Welcome everybody to the Scott County Cardinals News Graphic Boys Basketball Coaches Show. We're into the second week of January. We're past the halfway point now once we get through this week. And things are getting serious. A lot of district games, a lot of region games coming up here in the very near future, as well as the Toyota Classic. We'll be getting to that next week. But first, let's talk about last week, which was a big weekend. Friday, Saturday events for the Cardinals. Friday night went to Henry Clay, where it's always a battle. You always expect it to be a hostile environment. I was impressed. The Scott County crowd was bigger than the Henry Clay crowd, and it was necessary. It was needed for the Cardinals because it was a battle as expected. Henry Clay came into that game 9-3. Very young team. Not a lot of fear exhibited there by Henry Clay as Scott County got out to a big early lead. Henry Clay fought back to within 9 points. Scott County got the lead in the third quarter up to 22. Again, they cut it back to single digits before finally SC pulled away for a 71-58 victory. Diablo Stewart, the leading scorer, with 18 points that night. Michael Marino with 17 and Cooper Robb with 16. Lorenzo Williams also had a nice game, 10 points for him. And just a big district win for the Cardinals to get them back into the frame of mind of beating and competing with Kentucky opponents. I think Coach Hicks said it best when you go to South Carolina and these teams aren't in awe of your name, but they get surprised by how hard you hustle because you're from Kentucky. And once you get back playing Kentucky teams, it's a different pace. Speaking of that interstate thing we have going on, Saturday, Scott County traveled to Central Hardin to the Kentucky-Indiana Hall of Fame Challenge Cup, where they met a top-ranked, highly ranked team from Indiana, Evansville-Bosse. Never know what to expect in those situations, but the Cards jump out to a big early lead, 51-29 at halftime, and they cruise home to a 13-point victory. Highlight of that game, Bryce Long, the junior guard forward, swingman, wing player, whatever you want to call him, got his 1,000th career point. He needed 26, and he got exactly 26 points that night. Did it in basically 3 quarters of action as SC kind of coasted home after building the big lead through 3 quarters. Michael Marino had a big night. Cooper Robb flirted with a quadruple double, ended up with 18 points, I believe 8 rebounds, 7 steals, 6 assists. How's that for the top of my head? Anyway, it was a big win for the Cards, who moved to 13-1. And now they move forward to what promises to be a challenging week, and it's all region and district games from here on out this week. Tuesday they met, by the time you see this, it will be in the past, Madison Central. That's a big 11th region opponent as the Indians come into that game 13-4, so a couple of 13-win teams, a couple of top 25 teams going at it. Then it's probably on paper the easiest of the 3 games. They travel to Sayre on Thursday night. Now, Sayre made it to the 42nd District Championship game a year ago, but probably have fallen back behind Henry Clay and Bryan Station in that regard, in that 4-5 bracket, along with Frederick Douglass in the district. But you got to get through that game, and it's a tricky gym to win in. It's probably the smallest gym that Scott County will play in all year, a little different environment. And then Saturday night, weather permitting, we all hope, they'll be traveling to Bryan Station. And Bryan Station, if you've been paying attention to that, they have come out of nowhere to be ranked in the top 10 in most people's polls. 14-1 are the defenders. You got a good 3-headed monster there with Terrence Clayton Murphy, with Boss Boone, with Jalen Burbage. That's a good team. And SC's going to have to be at the top of his game to win that one on the road. So a big week ahead, as we said, leading into the Toyota Classic next week, which is an all-Kentucky bracket this year, but no shortage of excitement. Some tough opponents there that we'll talk about next week. So all those games coming up this week. We talked to Coach Billy Hicks about those games. He was, of course, proud to represent Kentucky in another victory over Indiana as Kentucky dominated that series, 5 wins in 5 games to get the upper hand there. Let's see what Coach Billy Hicks had to say about last week's victories and the tough week ahead.
Scott County has defeated teams from 6 different states in its first 14 wins.
That tells you something, Cal, about the sign of the times, about playing people from everywhere, the way teams travel. I know back in the early 70s when I played basketball, late 60s and very early, like 1970 when I graduated. I don't think we'd played. Heck, we
Never left Eastern Kentucky.
never left Eastern Kentucky. So, and I'd never seen the ocean until I went to college. So I didn't know. I heard it was out there. I hadn't seen it yet. But it's really amazing now the way kids travel and play and the styles of play, and it's always the rich history of Indiana basketball, as with Kentucky, to get matchups like that. And I was surprised. We really played really good. And the great thing about that game was we lost Michael early in the second quarter on three very questionable calls with 3 Indiana referees and calling the game. And Michael went out early, and boy, this seemed like that tells you where we're at right now, because guys were able to step up. We couldn't do that a month ago, Cal, but now we've gotten now 8, 9, maybe even 10 players now that can step right in and play, and not many teams have that, and we haven't had that here.
1,000 points are a relatively common occurrence for the Cardinal program.
We have it. I guess now they keep up. Now with stats are better. As Tom and Phyllis Hendricks do a great job of that, and we follow that now. But gosh, over the years we've had so many. I think about every player that's played here scored 1,000 points at different times. They started this couple of years to scored that many, and again that's the tribute to the wonderful kids we have here and the homes they come from and everything. And again, it was good to really see Bryce step up, because Bryce has had a tough go between sickness and his grandmother passing away, and it's really playing now like we've always expected him to play.
The Cardinals struggled to put away Henry Clay in a road district game Friday night.
Well, we jumped on them 29-10, or we had a 19-point lead off the bat, and then I think sometimes, Cal, we get our leads and stuff. We really play good playing team defense and playing team offense, not trying to just create a shot when we want to on our own. I think once we get a lead and everything, everybody says, "Oh, my time. Now I get the ball. Now I'm going to just create a shot and do it." And the competition we play, you can't just do that. I don't know of anybody who have just create a shot anytime he wants it, and a good shot. And I think what happened, we end up taking some bad shots, and therefore when you take a bad shot, it hurts you in a lot of ways, because one, you're not expecting the ball to be shot, so you don't have any offensive rebounding. Plus, you haven't moved the defense, so usually you're shooting contested shots. And contested shot versus a uncontested shot, that percentage goes down drastically on contested shots.
And then the other team gets the long rebound, and
they're out and gone with it.
Right?
And Kentucky kids, and the same as you saw with Bossy from Evansville, Indiana kids, they're not going to quit. They are not going to lay down. They're going to battle you. Very few teams in Kentucky will ever just roll over and lay down. They're going to battle you like crazy. And I thought Henry Clay played about as hard other night as any team we played all year. And that's a tribute to them. Man, those kids played hard. We had them down 19. They didn't give up. We had them down 24, and they didn't give up. And that's a tribute to the character of that team. And Coach Brown does a good job with them, getting them to play hard. So again, it is a great atmosphere. I'm just so proud to be a part of Scott County basketball, Cal, where we had more fans down there than they did. They had a good little crowd that finally showed up, but boy, the Scott County fans were there early in numbers. And it's really great to be a part of something like that. And our team is very lucky to have the fans we have.
3 regional rivals make this a challenging week.
We got 2 top 10 teams in the state, and then 1 district game with the other team. 2 district games with Bryan Station and Sayre, but Madison Central, again, Coach Feldhouse for years and years and years. Allen's has done a great job down there, and his teams are they're a reflection of him, and his father. His father was one of the toughest guys I've ever seen coach basketball. So the team's a reflection of that. They're tough kids, and they will battle you. They're fundamentally sound, and it's really something to see them in the top 10 now, and we're glad to be in there too with them. But then Bryan Station, I watched Bryan Station and Madison Central play the other night, and again, just very Tommy is doing a great job at Bryan Station this year. not the most talented Bryan Station team we faced by no means. But boy, they're fundamentally better. They play good team ball, and two top 10 teams in the state that really present a good week for us, a good chance for us to grow ourselves. Playing. And it was great, Cal, to see in the Cantrell's rating, which covers our area best because they're more in tune with what happens in Central Kentucky and Eastern Kentucky, I guess. And last year we finished the season ranked #1. This year we started off with the first one #1. So that's really a tribute to our program, right?
Look down top 10. You've either beaten the teams or you're going to play them real soon.
We're going to find out. We will find out. So it really is. It says something about Kentucky high school basketball. But and you look at those top 25 teams, Cal, and even though we're ranked #1, you look at that. Hey, any one of those other 24 teams could beat us on a given night, and that's basketball. And that's the great thing about Kentucky high school basketball is these kids are living their dream. They're going out and playing, and boy, they play so hard, as our kids are too. I'm just, gosh, we got a great group of young men. We got a tough week ahead of us, but they really are fun to coach.
All right, that was Coach Hicks, and of course he's proud to represent Kentucky in that Kentucky-Indiana Challenge and to beat another tough team from out of state. And he's excited to have this team, I think, where he wants them to be going into the second half of this season. They were ranked #1 in the polls, as he said, have already beaten the #2 team, and will be facing a lot of teams that are in that top 10. So schedule was tough in December. Schedule's going to be tough in January. No team's going to be better prepared, I don't think, than Scott County going into the postseason in a month or so. 1,000-point club is the theme for the players both last week and this week. Of course, you may remember last week, if you saw the show, we talked to Michael Marino and Cooper Robb. They hit that milestone last year. Coming into this season, the newest member of the club, Bryce Long, as we mentioned, just hit that at Evansville-Bosse, against Evansville-Bosse last Saturday night. And last year, Diablo Stewart, as a sophomore, hit that number at Franklin County. Now he's a member of the right team, as he's going to tell you, the Scott County Cardinals. So you have 4 players out of 5 starters that have hit 1,000 points for their career. And there's only one basketball, so it takes a lot to juggle that, but this team seems to be doing it. Let's see what Bryce Long and Diablo Stewart had to say about the season to date.
Bryce Long took his 1,000-point milestone in stride.
Yeah, it's an honor, first of all. We got tons of scores. Diablo already hit it at Franklin County, and then Cooper and Michael, of course. So, yeah, it's nice to join them, get up there with them. So.
Diablo Stewart hit 1,000 points as a sophomore last year and gave some insight into what it takes.
All 4 of us, the whole team can really score and do their thing, but we all come together. We have to sacrifice something. So I'm glad Bryce got it with us.
You said you did it your sophomore year. That's got to be pretty tough, right, to do it mostly in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
What's the challenge of doing that in high school like? Because not many people get to say they did that.
You have to be mentally prepared day in and day out with the teams, changing defense for you and coming at you a certain way, pressing. You have to get your body in shape, and there's a lot of wear and tear about it.
Long hit the number on the nose with a season-high 26 points.
I had no clue. I think I needed 30 when we played Henry Clay, and then I only scored 4 points, had a slow night, and then came out big against Bosse or whatever. Yeah, I felt good in warm-ups. We got a good stretch in, and we had a lot of time to warm up, so just for sure got nice and loose.
Transferring to a new top-ranked program has been a challenge for Stewart.
First it was tough, especially at Ballard. That kind of woke me up, and I lost my spot, and then I ended up earning it back, so I kind of got used to it. The tempo is really fast here. There's rarely times where you slow it down and hold it and wait the clock. It's always going up and down, so that's something to get used to too.
Scott County ran past its Indiana opponent with a dominant first half.
I don't think they were expecting us to come out there and pressure them like we did, and they were wanting to run, and we just ran right with them. But we had the fundamentals and everything, got it done.
Kentucky opponents provide a different challenge than out-of-state opponents for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, since we kind of finished good, we won the consolation bracket. Teams thought we weren't really that good anyway coming in, thought they was better than us. So we had to show them what we do.
Because out-of-state teams, they don't really know much about us, and they just come out. And then in-state teams, everybody wants to beat Scott County, so it's going to be a tough road every time.
The Cards can take a big step toward the top seed in the 42nd District with wins Thursday and Saturday.
First we got Madison Central tomorrow, then we got Sayer Thursday, then we got Bryan Station. So we got 3 region games in 1 week.
I mean, just playing each game one at a time, get each win. I mean, right now we're looking forward to Madison Central, and then after we go on to them, we'll move on to the next team.